Hello there. My name is Donna Peterson, and you are listening to the B2B Marketing Excellence Podcast. Now, normally I will have a guest because I go all around the world talking with industry leaders, marketing directors, business owners about their industry, what is working in regards to marketing and sales, what trends are they seeing, and what tips can they give us so that we can succeed faster? But today I had to take a little pause on that. And why? Last week, I was at a trade show. I'm in a session, and someone in the back of the room says, "But how do I put together or get an email list to promote to?" Some people started to talk about harvesting and scraping data from a variety of different sources. And of course, for me, that is a major red flag. You've got to be very careful where you are getting emails from. If you just scrape and harvest data or use lists that you buy that are not opted in, you have the possibility of blacklisting your domain. What does that mean? That means your domain will be shut down. You will not be able to send any emails from that domain. And this is why I had to do this episode. I had to do this episode to talk about how do we find good quality email lists, especially for the types of clients we work with. Our clients are either promoting executive education programs that can be quite expensive, or industrial machinery, which again can be quite expensive. All of these brands have very polished brands. If you're a prestigious university, you don't want to do anything that may tarnish the brand. You've got a legacy industrial machining company. You do not want to tarnish its brand by using junk data, by scraping together data that is not opted in or compliant. So today I wanted to go across a few things because even when we get that great list, we don't want to spend hours creating a great email marketing message only for it to land on the wrong desk. And that's why with these expensive offers, they're usually very granular. They go into very specific niche areas. And that is why you need to be looking in certain areas for the right lists. Now, with those executive education programs, we have to make sure it's very personalized. We have to make sure that those executives are in that exact area that would want to attend one of these specific programs. For the industrial machinery, same thing. We have to make sure we're at companies that use that specific equipment, but then we're also reaching the individual that will make that decision to yes, buy it, or no, don't buy it. So as we go to look for lists, the first thing you want to look for is segmentation. How can you segment the list? Gone are the days of sending those big, massive email promotions to everyone and getting a response. People are being bombarded with too many email marketing messages. You need to make sure that you can segment the list so that your subject line and the content of your email speaks directly to them. When you do that, that is when people will respond. But if you start out with very general subject lines, like, do you want to further your education? Or do you need a piece of machinery? That's not going to fly. It has to be very specific now so that the individual will click, open it, and then click on the offer. So the first thing is you need to find a list that's segmented. The second thing, and this is the most important, is you need to make sure that these lists are compliant. they're GDPR compliant, they're CAM-SPAN compliant. This means that the individuals on the list have opted into getting third-party messages. You're not just getting this list, buying it from someone and sending it out to them, even though they did not ask to get information from you. You don't want that. You must make sure you follow all the procedures and all the regulations to make sure that the lists that you use are compliant. The next thing is you want to make sure the list is fresh. It's great when you get this nice big list. Let's say you're looking at 10,000 records, but if 6,000 of them are from 3 years ago, you don't know if those individuals are still in that same position. You don't know if those individuals are still interested in buying those pieces of equipment. You don't know if those individuals want to enroll in executive education programs. So you want to make sure that you're looking at the freshest data possible. I like to stick to that 1 year mark, go into active subscribers within the last 12 months, people who have attended conferences within the last 12 months. Because when we do that, that's when we know, hey, if they subscribe to this industry specific magazine or they went to this trade show, I know they are in the right space. This quickly, on a little side note, this is when also you don't have to worry just about the leads. You'll be getting brandy because you know the people are in that area. The fourth thing is checking to find out how engaged is this audience? What are the open rates like? What are the click-through rates like? And if possible, when you're talking to vendors, find out what were the offers. You want to have similar offers because if someone is just promoting maybe a free newsletter, the response rates can't be the same as if they're purchasing an expensive piece of equipment or enrolling in expensive programs. So you want to understand the offer. Now, the strategy to find quality email lists: collaborate with niche publications. Partner with trade magazines that are in that specific area. Why it is great to partner with these magazines, because reputable publishers spend a lot of time and a lot of effort making sure that they're creating content, articles, videos, LinkedIn Lives, radio shows, whatever it might be, that will be of interest to this audience. So when you go to these publications, you already know that these individuals might be interested in sustainability in the metalworking industry. You'll know that these are CEOs who have to know about crisis management. They're very specific, so you won't get this huge list, but you're going to get a list that's very specific to the people you need. And that is why industry-specific publications can be a great source. Another great source are conferences. Think about it. Some of those industry conferences out there that people are paying over $2,000 to attend. When you register for a show, which I'm sure all of you have done, you fill in some requirements of what types of equipment are you looking for? Are you looking to buy within the next 6 months? What is your job title? What is your job function? Where is your business located? How many employees do you have? What is your sales volume? The individuals, when they register for the conference, they're not going to rush through those questions because they want to connect with the right people when they're at the trade shows. They want to get promotions from companies that'll help them do their job better, so they answer the questions properly. If you go to a file and let's say they're offering a free magazine, you want to sign up for the magazine or a free newsletter, you want to sign up for it, but you really don't want to give them too much of your information. You know how that is. You want to hold that information close to the chest. But when you're paying a lot of money for something and you're hoping to get back something in return, you are going to spend time answering those questions truthfully. And thus, when you go to those lists, that's when you're going to be able to really fine tune your selection and segment the list to that specific niche that will be interested in your offer. Another great way when you're looking at trying to build those email lists, you use the publications, you use the conferences. There are some great third-party providers, which are those magazines, but there's other providers out there that have done their due diligence. They have verified the data and they have vetted every single individual on the list, and every single individual is opted into getting third-party messages. There's other platforms out there. It's like the Seamless AI. Seamless AI is great because you can go and connect with an individual on LinkedIn, and that's another great way to build your audience. You connect with them on LinkedIn, they start to see your quality content, and then maybe you ask them to sign up for your newsletter. This, again, because of the content you're putting out there, you know they're interested in it. If they subscribe to your newsletter, then you know that you can hopefully nurture them down the road to becoming a buyer of your equipment or registering for those executive education programs. These are some great ways that you can really start to put a quality email list together. Because as much as I love using LinkedIn or different platforms, the best is when you can get those records in-house on your house list. Now, some of those vendors I mentioned previously, publications even where we go in with a very targeted email to a segment of their list, they are willing to give you the click-through information. So anyone who clicked all the way through, they will give you the information that it was Donna Peterson, World Innovators, 22 Bacon Road, full address, email, everything that they've got, and then you're able to add them to your house file. When you do that, the first thing I do is go out with a message to them saying, thank you very much for clicking on our email. Is it okay if I add you to our email list? Whatever the list is going to be about, whatever type of information you're going to send them, ask them if it is okay. Say, if it is not, please click here to opt out of the list. That way you are doing your due diligence that the people you are grabbing in-house are opting in to really getting your message, that they're interested in the information you have to offer. Email marketing is still one of the best ways to really promote your company. The email marketing return on investment averages like $42 for every $1 that you spend. And this is why it's so important to use email marketing, but be very, very careful of the lists you'll use. Don't just start buying huge amounts of data. Don't start scraping data, having someone there going through directories or different websites and just taking those email addresses and putting them on a list. That could really end up causing you a lot of serious problems. If they shut down your domain, it is very costly to get yourself back up and running. And, that's going to stay out there. It's going to be a little bit of a stigma that stays there for a very long time on whether people can really trust your brand. Like I said, my two top places for when I'm looking for lists for my clients are industry-specific publications and trade shows. It takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of talking. Like I go to trade shows and I sit down with these publishers and conference companies in person to find out these details, find out, what are the hot topics in your industry? What type of offers are working? What's not working? What channels of yours are working? And then just to find out, how clean do you keep your file? When do you update it? Do you use this own file for yourself? That's a good one. Because if they use it for themselves, if they're mailing to it, if they're emailing it to it, then obviously they trust the quality of it. And then you can trust it also. What are some pitfalls you need to look for? Those cheap lists that are popping up in your email every single day saying, do you need a list? What title, industry? We can get that for you. The list I'm talking about for these expensive offers that we work with, it's not just a title, industry. We need title and industry. We need to know how long they've been in a certain position. We need to know what type of equipment they use. And that's why we have to go into these very granular lists and get things like that. The other pitfall is don't ignore list hygiene. Now, this is when you're talking to vendors about using their list, but also for yourself. While I was at this show, I talked to one vendor that was there, and they're like, oh, yeah, we've been spending years. We've got this great list. We've got 100,000 records. And I'm like, wow, that is great. Can I ask what kind of open and click rate do you get with that? And then they told me they get a 2% open rate. 2%. Okay, for anyone who may not know, that is extremely low, especially for a house file. A house file, you should be looking at 20 to 30%, if not higher, because it is your own house file. This company that has 100,000 records and is only getting a 2% open rate, guess what? They better look into list hygiene because the list is not clean. A lot of those people might be dead. They're not even opening it up. So they need to go through their own current house list, clean it up, see who really is interested in what they have to offer right now, and then take that specific target audience and find external lists that will help them reach those types of people. So you need to make sure that your list hygiene for your own in-house list is cleaned and updated. And the next thing is always make sure that the audience you're going after aligns with your sales team on what your sales team thinks are the best prospects. Still blows my mind that there's companies out there where sales and marketing do not talk. It is a waste of money if sales and marketing do not talk. They must talk. The information they can offer both sides is invaluable. Sales team can say what is most important to hot prospects. Marketing can then write about it. They can have a subject line about it. They can have the content. They can have offer that people will want to respond to. So make sure your sales and marketing teams are aligned. So let's just quickly recap. You need good quality email lists in order to promote your products, but you must research and do it very carefully. Make sure you find a target audience. Make sure that it is fresh. Make sure it is compliant, and make sure you are writing about topics that would be of interest to this audience. Please click below, subscribe to this podcast so you'll be aware of the next episode when it comes available. And also let me know, what kind of topics would you like to hear about, because I could change around my topics to anything that will be of interest to you. Please click like. We want more people to listen in. Have a great day.
Thanks for listening to the World Innovators B2B Marketing Excellence Podcast. If you'd like to be updated when new episodes come out, don't forget to subscribe. Also, check out our social media accounts to stay up to date on B2B marketing trends.